This is your tarot reading for Virgo season, the 23rd of August to the 22nd of September, thereabouts, for 2024. I'm going to be using the Ethereal Tarot deck by Matt Hughes, and then I will be pulling one card as well from Soul's Lessons and Soul's Purpose deck from Sonia Choquette, two of my favourite decks. My name is Fingal from the Wellness Foundry. If we haven't met, a very, very warm welcome. And hopefully this reading will just give you some insights about what to cultivate, what to avoid, what's going to be happening in the collective over the next 30 or so days. So all big cards going to jump out. So that's going to be our first card. The Moon reversed. Quite fitting for Virgo season. Let's pull 4 other cards. So we've got the Page of Wands, the 3 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, and the Ace of Wands. So Wands being the predominant suit, but not by much. Wands being represented by the element of fire, all about action, enthusiasm, excitement. Interestingly enough, the Page of Wands and the Ace of Wands, effectively the same card. The Pages being at the beginning of the Royals and the Ace being at the beginning of the Minor Arcana. Typically, those cards are around enthusiasm, the motivation required in order to start something new. You know, there's a tipping point where things are just a cerebral idea or notion or a spark of inspiration, and then that motivation, that excitement that we feel in order to get it off the ground. You know, sometimes we're just getting a sense of ideas, oh, that might be nice, but we don't do anything about it, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes it's like, actually, the more I look at that, it doesn't excite me. I don't actually really want to do it. So don't be surprised, particularly on a personal level, if September starts to see a little bit of those kind of initial buds of excitement, those initial buds of possibility emerging for us. It's a really, really good time, it seems, to put things into action, get off the sofa, so to speak, and yeah, just start really putting things into motion that have otherwise been kind of slightly buzzing away in the background. It's particularly true as the fact that the only major arcana that we have is the Moon card here. The Moon card, typically upright, would indicate sometimes our base fears, the unknown, not always, again, necessarily a bad thing, but it talks about uncertainties. The fact that it's come in reverse here indicates that some of those uncertainties, some of those anxieties or worries that we might have been feeling, particularly collectively, are likely to abate, which is a really positive sign. Where there has perhaps been darkness, there may be light. And again, that's really feeding in on a personal level with the Page of Wands and the Ace of Wands, about that motivation, about that risk taking, about that, okay, that's where I should be putting in my energies and efforts. That's what I want to start putting my focus into. So any of those kind of collective unknowns, those collective doubts, that collective fear, hopefully we're going to start seeing a little bit of a shift around that, a little bit of dispelling around some of that darkness. However, this can only be achieved on both a global scale and a local scale between the 3 of Pentacles, which is about teamwork. It's about people coming together. You can see the plans there, the architect's plan, and these 3 protagonists kind of thinking, okay, how do we start putting these plans into action? Seems to be a really, really strong theme for Virgo, being an earth sign and something kind of often quite kind of about the mind. It's unsurprising that we're finding those themes coming through. So if you are about to embark on anything, maybe that's a new adventure, a new project, a new, maybe some DIY around the house, whatever it is, anything that you're embarking on that you feel excited by, don't try and do that alone. This is a really important period of time to be thinking, what calls or what help do I need to be calling in? What assistance do I need in order to get my dreams into reality? But also, very importantly, the other side of it too is what assistance can I be helping or offering? So again, something that just seems to be dropping in here is about what could we be doing, particularly in the community. How can I support my local community? One of the obvious questions is, do you know your neighbours? If not, is it time to go and kind of introduce yourself? Or is there an action or a fund or a programme that you could start to dedicate a little bit of time, a little bit of financial resource, whatever it might be, to? How a good question for you in Virgo season is, how am I integrated, or how much am I connected to my local community? Because when we start answering those questions on a very personal level, they'll inevitably ripple out into a larger scale. This also may include, how do I get on with people at work if you work in a team? How do I interact and relate to community at large? These are really important questions to be asking, it seems. Finally, we have the Five of Swords. Bit of a tricky card, sometimes described as the Lord of Strife. The Five of Swords can talk about conflict and arguments. It will be unsurprising if some of these kind of low level, again globally, these, well, not so low level, but these conflicts that are going on in the background, so to speak, and for some people in the foreground, that may very well just be kind of still milling around, whirling around. It is important, therefore, on a personal level, to not get caught up in that collective fear as indicated by the moon reversed. Don't get kind of caught up in that maelstrom. And again, on a personal level, on an individual level, it's looking at, well, where am I, particularly as we're getting into these themes of collaboration, teamwork, community, asking yourself, am I exacerbating or fanning the fires of disharmony, or am I actively trying to guard against it? This again is an important question. What am I doing in order to incite harmony and balance and cooperation, collaboration and understanding? And where am I trying to assert my own individual will and authority, particularly when that's unnecessarily, and particularly when that is at odds with what other people need or their opinions? So finally, I'm going to pull a card from the Soul's Lessons and Soul Purpose Oracle deck. And this is great because it has a little message for us. So we've got the tree, again, very fitting for Virgo season, being in the suit of Earth, the element of Earth. And the message we have here is revive the dormant, revive the dormant. Seems to key in really well with what the tarot cards were indicating, particularly with the Ace of Wands and the Page of Wands, in terms of this new excitement. Just as I was saying at the beginning about what initially starts off as just the seed of an idea and then being brought into reality. And so too, therefore, particularly with the Revive the Dormant, is looking at what has been shelved, what has been mothballed, what has been delayed. Oh, I'll get to that later. What have we been procrastinating about that needs more attention or needs to be brought into the foreground of our attention? So again, quite a good maybe little journaling exercise or a good prompt for you to be thinking about is, what has been brewing away or percolating that I've let slip, that has moved away from my awareness? And if the answer is obvious, maybe Virgo season is representing a perfect time to bring that through. So I hope that proves helpful and insightful and has sparked something, pun intended, given the Ace of Wands, something within you. And if you'd like to find out more about what we do here at the Wellness Foundry, we've got a lot coming up over Virgo season. We've got our psychic development course starting with me. So if you're particularly looking to, again, maybe that's part of this excitement putting something into action is joining the psychic development course, particularly if you've been thinking for a while, or that intuitive side of me is something that I've wanted to explore but haven't done so. You can check on the website for more details under in-depth experiences. And you can also book a reading with either me or the rest of the team as well for a more individual and personalized reading. But until next time, I wish you all lots and lots of love through the Virgo season, and see you soon. Bye for now.